Guten Tag again, collectors. This model's pretty old, actually. It's been reviewed by many people. A couple of my subscriptions, Pedal to Metal and Studio 64, reviewed this. But I think I've seen it on other people's channels also. This is such a historic combination here. What we have is a Mercedes set, the Mercedes Blue Wonder Transporter from 1955, and then the Mercedes W196 Streamliner, which is based off a 300 SLR. And yeah, so let's go and take a look here at this packaging. It just says W96 Airline Streamliner. Okay, German, right? So there's quite a lot to learn about these guys. So I guess I'll just start with this truck because it's not much to say. The Mercedes website says it's powered by a 6-cylinder engine, around 3 liters, and around 200 horsepower, and can actually go 106 miles per hour. So that's pretty fast for a truck like this, but you know, being an organic streamlined shape probably helps it out. Yeah, look at this thing. So let's take a look at this image and compare a little bit. Not too bad. Doesn't have the chrome surround around the headlights. That could have been maybe painted silver, but it's got casted in bumpers. Here's a nice photograph. You don't see that thing every day on the road. Okay. So let's take a closer look at this guy. It's pretty heavy, obviously. It's being die-cast metal, but the base is actually plastic. Sadly, I don't see a scale here. I don't know if it's true 164. I'm going to just have to assume it is. Maybe I'll measure it later and leave a comment. I don't feel like measuring it right now. It is press fit together, and Norev runs plastic wheels, which actually doesn't bother me because I find that some rubber tires break after time. And these actually look pretty nice. There's actually air passing between the spokes. The Mercedes hubcap has a star on it. And interesting spokes on this thing. Some are thick, some are thin. I like the 2 colors, so I think those are great wheels. Alright, so this blue is not metallic. It's just a medium shade of blue, I would say. This top, plate is plastic, but it's still got some holes going through for rain drainage. And probably an engine cover here to that engine. The 6-cylinder, the doors here. There seems to be a break here physically in the mold here, but it's weird because up here there's no break, so I'm not sure. Oh, I see. Yeah, so that's the break there. It's to get that window going. It's quite a funky rear window for sure. I like that the chrome strip carries across the door panels and the body. Then you have 2 spare tires here. Again, they're plastic, which is fine. But they're actually a different molding because it's got the clamp to hold the wheel down. Pretty thin here, this little platform. Door handle sticking out, not painted silver, unfortunately. And then we have a casted in bumper, again with the silver paint. The grille itself is just smooth, but painted black in there. Plastic headlights are nice, and these headlights have a texture on them to look like old school headlights. Unfortunately, this one's twisted. It's not vertical, so this one's much better. Turn signals are just silver. I do see a little bit of yellowing on the real photograph. And then we have some wiper fluid bumps here. Silver paint for the molding. There are raised wiper blades, but there's no paint on them. Seems odd. Little casted in window brake there. Yeah, and there's some casted in window brakes on the back. Okay, so coming around to the back side here, I don't see any paint flaws so far. Casted in rear bumper, no license plate. Raised Mercedes star, painted silver. And then we have some silver and red here for the taillights, pretty nice. This silver bump, I'm not sure, maybe that's the fuel filler. So, oh no, it's pretty nice. No major problems quality-wise. So I'm pretty happy with that one. Let's put that aside for now. So this is a racing legend here. It competed in 1954 and 1955. A website called Ultimate Car page is saying only 4 of them were built, and it was powered by a straight 8-cylinder. That's why the nose is so long, I guess. And it's supposed to be 2.5 liters, making around 300 horsepower. And then this actually had fuel injection, which for 1954, it's relatively advanced, I would say. What else is important here? Oh, the bodywork is all aluminum. It has a steel space frame, double wishbone suspension, and then a 5-speed transmission. And it's actually running drum brakes all around, because it wasn't until Jaguar really, in this same era, started introducing disc brakes. Okay, it's rear-wheel drive. Alright, so that's what I learned about this car statistically. Now let's talk about this model and compare it to these photos maybe first, actually. Well, I guess I can still use this one. Proportion-wise, not bad. I mean, you could almost trace it. Look at that. Look at that photograph. It's pretty spot on, right? So that's nice. The 3/4 view. Yeah, not bad. And then this rear view. These are very expensive cars. I'm not sure if it's a Streamliner or a regular open-wheeled version, but one of these W196s sold for almost $30 million back in the early 2000s because it is such a historic race car. These cars were driven by 2 famous drivers, Juan Manuel Fangio and Sterling Moss. And in only 14 months of competition, this thing won the 1954 and 1955 championships. It is debated. People say it would have won more championships. It's just that there was no such thing as the manufacturer's championship. That didn't come out until 1958. So it was such a dominating car. Alright, so let's get to this model. Now, these are probably the worst wire wheels I've seen because there aren't enough wires. You saw the side photograph. There's clearly more than 20 spokes on a wire wheel, or however many there are here. But it is nice that the Mercedes star is in there, and there's indication of the 3 knockoff flanges there. The tires, though, they look off-roady. You know, these tread blocks here, even though they're plastic, I just don't even see a need to have this tread block molded in there, right? Alright, so the silver paint, it doesn't bother me so much, but I'm gonna guess a lot of people don't like to see the flakes this big. But for me, it's okay. You can see the exhaust pipe sticking out, but no additional paint. It is a silver car, and the exhausts are silver chrome, so I guess that's okay. This is the number 1 car, so it must be one after it won the championship. We have the star in some black again, but this time this black grill has a texture, unlike the truck, which was smooth. No headlights on this race car. Decent panel cuts here, and sharpness to the panel cuts. We have some vents sticking out here. Yeah, it's actually different from the rear photograph I pulled up. So, yeah, sorry, wrong photo. I'm gonna guess that these are probably chrome strips, kind of like you see on modern, like a Mercedes SL. Okay, but Norev, didn't chrome it. It's nice that you got an old school looking steering wheel here. It's not just a blobby Hot Wheels kind of thing. There's some plastic shining through this little opening, and then we have an old school seat with no headrest, but the body itself is the headrest. There's a hatch here. Maybe that's the fuel filler door. I'm not sure. And no taillights because it's a race car from the 50s, which does still seem weird. Just because it's a race car, I think it would be smart to have taillights, right? So cars don't just plow into you at high speeds. So that does seem a bit odd to me. Alright. Press fit together base. We know what the car is, but again, no sense of scale. So, alright. Let's get this thing spinning. And I guess I'll have to put it on the truck itself. That's the intention. So I'm going to pull out a couple other Mercedes. Well, you know what, actually, before I do that, since this takes up so much space, here's a Tlv transporter. So if we look at the overall width of the thing, TLVs are accurate. They're supposedly, getting the real vehicles into their studios to make their models. If you look at the width of this thing, I think this could actually be 1/64 scale. But again, maybe I'll measure it. Alright, so that takes up a lot of space, so we'll get rid of that now. Let's pull out a couple other Mercedes. This is a brand called UCC Coffee. It's a freebie that came with 2 cans of their coffee. And it's really nicely done. It's actually better done than the Schuko 300 SL, I think, because it has a realistic riding stance on it. Let's see, we have a Kyosho coming up. It's a Sauber C9. Unfortunately, I find that this casting isn't very accurate to photos. It seems like it's too short overall. Try to make a little more room here. A little more modern, we have a Mini GT Benz 190E, and that's just a fantastic model for the price. The only real criticism would be the Mercedes star sticking up too high, but for the price of a Mini GT, you should just be happy it has a separate Mercedes star, which I am. So, alright, let's get these modern vehicles out of here. Pop in 2 more modern ones. Here's another UCC, but a more modern one, CLK DTM. The criticism was UCC is a blacked out windows. There's no interior. But again, these models are free with 2 cans of coffee, so I think they're fantastic considering that situation. Alright, so then the last car I'm going to pull up is a majorette of the Mercedes Vision Gran Turismo car. This is a 1/63rd scale though. I do appreciate the majorette writes the scale on the bottom of their vehicles. Really every brand should, I think. This has 3D printed wheels though, so that's why it looks a little different than the majorette's wheels. So here's a little top view now. Actually, regarding scale, it is, well, I'm not sure if the UCC is accurate in scale either, but yeah, these wheelbases are off. Sorry. Or not. Alright, so yeah, this is now driving me crazy. I'm curious myself. I'm gonna have to pause and come back. Alright, so I looked up the wheelbases here. The W196, there's a wheelbase of 2350. So let's see. Let's zero that out. Try to get us in the center here. .5-ish divided by, well, I'll actually punch in 4.7. Yeah, it's around 1/64 scale. No problems there. Now the transporter is saying it's 3050 millimeters. So let's take that and divide it by 47.3. Yeah. So, there could be axle play. I'm probably measuring it a little bit imprecisely, but I think it's safe to say that these are 1/64 scale models, so that's fantastic, because I have some other Norevs and I'm pretty sure they're not 1/64 scale, but this one turned out great. So let me get the good old solar coaster of a racing thing here. And boy, let's see if it can hold up to this weight. Alright, so it turns out to be a fantastic set, I think. The wheels, I guess, on the racing car are probably the biggest downfall of this set. I do feel other brands do make more more realistic looking wire wheels, even if they are blanked off. But I think the truck is just awesome. The only minor gripe is there's no black paint on the wiper blades or silver paint on the door handles. But I think overall the price of this set is relatively good. It's going to depend where you buy it, of course. I bought it locally here, and for 2 vehicles it didn't cost that much. So very happy with this one. I appreciate you guys checking the video out. Maybe you want to pick this up. I think they're pretty much readily available anywhere. So, but it's such a historic set. I wouldn't be surprised if these sell out sooner or later and actually become expensive someday. Okay, thanks. We'll see you around. Bye.